Welcome back to Job Loss Tips. Today we are going to be discussing job loss and when someone should consider moving. So, moving after a job loss is a big decision, and the timing really depends on several factors. We're going to look at these factors, and this should assist you in making a decision whether or not you should move or whether you should stay. So, after you've lost a job, or even before, if you see that they're letting go of people, laying off people, terminating people, and you feel that this may be a time for you, then consider whether or not this would be a move for you or whether you should stay. Consider moving if the cost of living is unsustainable. Now, if your current rent or mortgage, if it's draining your savings quickly, relocating to a more affordable area could actually help stabilize your finances. The next thing you should look at is limited job opportunities in your area. So you would want to consider moving if there are limited job opportunities in the area. If your local industries aren't aligned with your skill set or the job market is slow, expand to a new location might be a better option for prospects. Number 3, consider moving if you're offered a job elsewhere. Now, a concrete offer, you have the offer letter, everything is signed. A concrete offer in a different city or state, this is a strong signal that moving is worth considering. Number 4, consider moving if your network is stronger elsewhere. So if you have family, friends, or professional connections in another city who can support you, moving could be a smart move. Now, with regards to the networking, I'm going to come back to that at the end. Number 5, consider moving if your lease is ending soon. If you're renting and your lease is up, it's a natural opportunity to reassess and possibly relocate without penalties. Now, if you've had a job loss and you're deciding whether or not you should hold off on a move, these are some things that you should look at. So hold off on moving after a job loss if you have financial stability for a few months. So if you have savings or if you have a severance to cover expenses while job hunting, staying put and focusing on local opportunities, this could be a wiser decision. Hold off on moving if, number 2, relocation costs would create more stress. So moving isn't just rent. There's transportation, you have deposits, you have job hunting costs. So make sure moving won't leave you in a worse financial position. Number 3, hold off on moving after a job loss if your industry has remote work potential. Now, if you're in a field where remote jobs are common, moving may not be necessary. And number 4, on whether you should hold off on moving after a job loss is hold off if you have strong local connections. If staying means leveraging your existing professional relationships for job opportunities, it might be best to hold off on relocating. Now, I spoke about the networking piece, right? Consider moving if your network is stronger elsewhere, if you have family, friends, or professional connections. I want to elaborate more on that because I want everyone to think about if you have a mom, you have your mom, your dad, your parents, aunties, uncles, grandparents, or if any one of them have actually transitioned on. But if you do have them, consider, if you have a good relationship with them, if they are a supportive unit, you might want to consider actually moving where you will have some support. Now, if you are doing well, you're in a job in your area, I'm going to say this. Consider getting a piece of land in a country, maybe a rural area, countryside or rural area that may not be too far from those networks that you would have in terms of family. Okay? If you're living in a large city and you're doing well, I always think it's good, if you're up there and you may be in a place and you may not have family in that place, if you could have a piece of land, and I would say go into the rural communities and own this piece of land, whether you're doing well, in a job, or whether you are considering relocating. It's good to have this piece of land. Have a piece of land where you can have anything on it. Make sure that the land is not necessarily a wetland. Make sure that it's something that you can build on, or even something that you can put a mobile home on, or an RV. You would have to look at certain laws for the state and counties in which you would be actually looking to purchase that in. But it's good to have that just in case anything goes awry within your career at any time. If you have a little piece of land, if you have a little mobile home on it or RV on it, again, make sure and stuff that is allowed in a particular state that you may be in. If you could have that on there, when things do go awry, you'll have something where you can say, you know what, I can always go here and fall back on, and get myself back together before getting up without having too much to worry about. Okay, those mobile homes and a little piece of land, like I said, go into a rural area. Maybe if it's not too far from where you might have some family members, that would be a good option to keep in mind, whether you are with a job or whether you're without a job. That could be something that you can actually plan for to have. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just something where you can actually maybe grow some fruit, to get some fruit trees or something, if it's there, especially if it's in a warmer climate. You may want to consider. But again, the things to consider if you lost a job, if you're going to move or not, consider moving if the cost of living is unsustainable, if the limited job opportunities in your area, if you're offered a job elsewhere, if your network is stronger elsewhere, and if your lease is ending soon. You would want to hold off if you have financial stability for a few months, if the relocating costs would create more stress, if your industry has remote work potential, and if you have a strong local connection. Drop a comment. Let me know if you are considering moving or staying. Until next time.